Hello and welcome to this quick tour to Project in a Box Small Team Edition. We can think about Project in a Box product offerings as splitting into sort of two areas really. There are the personal products, Community Edition and Personal Edition, which are aimed at single users, portable applications that can be taken around with you on a USB stick if required. And there are the fundamentally multi-user environments, Small Team Edition and Enterprise Edition. So Small Team Edition is the, if you like, the sort of entry-level package in the multi-user arena, and it has exactly the same capabilities as Enterprise Edition. The functionality set is exactly the same, and it's covered in great detail in many of the other video tours on this site. The difference is the permitted number of users and the ability to extend that or not. So if I just log in here as the admin user, we can have a little look at how all that feels. So I'm just going to skip past my project portfolios for a second and go in and have a look at my user accounts. And I can see here that on the server I've got quite a number of users set up here, but I've only got one permitted manager user, and that's, if you like, an administrator, somebody who can produce new projects, add new users, alter the users' permission settings, generate reports, manage all the permissions around projects, etc. So an administrator of the system, project support office person quite often. Within team user environment we have 9 licenses, and these are people that can check in and check out files and work on projects. And in many of our customer environments these are often project managers. The only things that you can't do with this type of license allocated to you is to create a new project, to add a new user, and to generate reports and manage project permissions. The third type of license, of which you have 10, are Enterprise Hub users. These are otherwise known as view-only user accounts. These are people that can log into the project and see live content around reports and latest documents, etc., and view that and interact with project team members, but cannot change any live documentation or add any new documentation. And then we have an unlimited number of other users who are classed as contact-only users, and these are people who can be included in a project's communication stream. So quite often they're customers or suppliers or partners listed as project team members, so that they can be included on email communications, notifications, etc., and can have documents very easily sent to them and returned from them by email. It's also possible to move users around. So if I wanted to move user Pete here out of team user environment and into an Enterprise Hub license, I could do that. I could then decide to move user Mark here into one of these freed up team licenses like that. So we can very easily move users around, and that's the sort of thing that the admin user would be able to do. So the Small Team Edition, say, has exactly the same functionality as the full version, but you are restricted to this particular license configuration: 1 manager, 9 team users, and 10 view-only users. The price for Small Team Edition is £999. So if you're 20 users, that works out at £50 a user, and that includes a package of unlimited support and upgrades for a year, and a modest package of implementation support to help you get up and running. Obviously aimed at a particular sort of user environment, small team within a larger organisation, sometimes a lone project manager or program manager working on a group of projects, and we have a lot of customers who buy at this sort of level. You can buy it online with a credit card if you want to, and all the downloading and management of the software is done via our online management system. So, simple standard product. Only restriction is that you can't upgrade it in terms of adding additional user licenses to this. So if you want to move to an additional number of user licenses, you have to upgrade to the Enterprise Edition, starting price for which is £3,000. So this is really aimed at providing a meaningful tool set for the user group that sit below an enterprise user license. Okay, so let's just have a quick look through some of the interfaces and a quick bit of the functionality around that. So if I come back to my portfolio here, going to have a little look at a slightly different project to one of the ones we've perhaps looked at before, which is one of our return projects. And one of the things we'd notice immediately with managing in a multi-user environment as opposed to a personal tool environment is that we can see the user that was responsible for making changes to documents. When a file is checked out to a particular user, we'll be able to see which user has it checked out. So other users coming into the system will see which user has a file checked out, and they'll be able to contact that user if they want to. We then have the full assurance and audit trail of user activities behind the scenes. So here I can come and look at my recent activity. Obviously as an administrator I have activity in terms of managing users, but I can see my activity through whatever period I'm interested in on files within the project itself. Which files have I been managing, who have I sent them to, which files have I added, all that sort of information. And that's available not only to each user to see for themselves in a secure way, but project managers can have reports produced for them with a summary, if you like, of user activity showing. Email integration is more complete here. We have the SMTP send capability built in to the server, so you don't have to pick up a separate SMTP send service. Outlook send is also more complete. It provides a greater set of information to the file, and you can do a checkout directly to Outlook as well. There is also an Outlook toolbar provided, which will fit into your Outlook application and enable you to strip off files returned from users and have them put back ready for check-in. So more complete set of capabilities in that area. Because it's server based, there's much more we can do in terms of indexing. So all file content added to a project is indexed in this circumstance, and you can then search through the content of your individual project files. So if you want to find any reference to exception on any files within a particular project, you can search for that, and it will return any instance of that text within any of the project files which could have been indexed. So wider range of capabilities, same sort of thing applies in terms of method templates that are provided and what you can do with them, so personalising them, adding your own custom ones, etc. And of course this way you can share them with 19 of your colleagues if you want to. So this is a sort of full software client. Actually, the full software client itself can be operated as a portable application in the same way as our personal tools can, but you require still the server sat somewhere to connect back to. So you can't use the client on its own. It does require a connection via the web back to the server. There are, as I say, different interfaces for the different types of users. So if I'm working as an administrator here, you'll see I've got the ability to generate reports, wide range of reports available, and some dashboards from here, etc. If I was to log out and log back in as one of the users with a team type of license, and it's worth noting, I guess, at this point that you can also integrate for the login with Active Directory. So if you want to run single sign-on, there's no need to use a username and password as I just did then. You could be having that pulled from your profile, and that obviously makes it much more secure. So here, if we go to the same project we looked at last time, which was e-finances system, I have some of the same sort of access. You'll notice some of the menu items have gone here, so I can't do any reporting as we talked about earlier. My access to the permissions management area has been removed, but I can still work on the files in the same way as we looked at before. I can see here file checked out to admin user, etc. So if we go off and have a look at what a view-only user looks like. Now the view-only user accesses via the browser interface. So we have two types of interface available on Small Team and Enterprise editions. The software client and the pure browser client. So if I come to pure browser client and just show you that in both ways. So if I log on as user Malk again, full list of projects available to me again. I can pick my new finances system. We try. This is more of a communications aid because it tends to be for people that are not necessarily core project team members who would tend to use a software client, because obviously it has much better interaction with the desktop with Outlook, drag and drop, and all that sort of thing. A little bit more restricted here, but we still do have the full document management capability, so we can work through in exactly the same ways we looked at before, working on our files. If we want to do exactly the same sort of stuff, email management, check in, check out, viewing, adding new content, all that sort of thing. So this makes it perfect for users on non-Windows platforms. So for example, a Mac user, Linux user, etc. can access and contribute to the project from a browser, pure browser interface. I can also view produce reports in here as well, and access team resources and a range of other sorts of information. Now that's as a team licensed user. Now if I come back and log back in now as a user who just has view only permissions, I have a smaller list of projects, as is often the case for these types of users. But if we pick up the project and now go and look at working with documents, we'll see what we get is a much simpler view. So specifically designed for users interacting less often with the project, may not be familiar with the methodology that we're trying to follow. So what we do here is give them an alphabetic index to project documents, so they can, if they want to go off and find particularly the delivery control pack, for example, they can go off and find that and see the latest available versions of various files, and if they want to view information about who's changed those and what comments they've left. Search facility is still enabled from here. They can still view the latest content. In fact, for all users, the Enterprise Hub is now the starting point for their journey. It's often the place where somebody will send them a link saying, here's the project in a box stuff, go and have a look at it. You can log in and work. If you want to work in a more significant way, from here you can download the various client options. So as we said, the software client can be run in portable mode, can be installed to the machine, etc. And these are packaged and available from here, so enabling you to have a sort of central point where you get everybody up and running. Of course, great advantage of this is because it's browser based, it's all very simply brandable, so you can simply change the logo here and the screen imagery and style sheets, etc., so that this very much has your own corporate feel to it. Even if if this is just something you're buying to run a particular project on, you can put, of course, your project branding into here, and that's a very simple thing to do. And often our customers use this Enterprise Hub as the window outside to their customers. So having this feel like your thing is great. You can portray that strong imagery and professional impression to your customers and other end users. So I say that's a quick run through SmallTeamEdition, and say it's really aimed at providing an entry-level solution for small organisations or standalone teams within organisations. Very cost effective at just £999 for a perpetual licence, meaning you can get up and running very quickly. So hope that was of interest. If you've got any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.